Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a story that takes us across decades of numismatic mystery, a journey through the hands of collectors, and a surprising twist in coin history that will leave you speechless. Make sure to grab a drink, sit back, and prepare to explore a winding tale that ends with one of the most unbelievable discoveries in the history of rare coins. A 1976 1-cent coin that recently fetched a staggering $284 million. Yes, you heard that right. But how did such an ordinary-looking penny reach a value that surpasses most luxurious mansions and even private jets? Let's start from the beginning, with a story that spans generations, secrets, and the quiet obsession of collectors chasing history. It all began in the fall of 1975, in a small town tucked away in the Midwest. A man named Harold Jenkins, a former metallurgist turned part-time coin enthusiast, was combing through his change jar late one night. Harold wasn't a professional collector, but he had a knack for spotting anomalies. Over the years, he had discovered a few misprints and errors that earned him a couple $100 here and there. But that night, something strange caught his eye. The coin was a 1-cent piece, like any other. Copper-colored, worn, and unassuming. But it felt different in his hand, heavier somehow. The year stamped on it was 1976. At first glance, that wouldn't seem odd. Millions of pennies were minted that year to celebrate the bicentennial of the United States. However, upon closer inspection, Harold noticed something strange about the details. The font of the date was slightly off, the 6, almost appearing like it was added later or repunched. Harold took it to his magnifying glass and began to analyze it. The surface had an unusual sheen to it, almost reflective, but not in the polished way. More like it had a layer of something not meant to be there. Thinking it might just be a worn-out novelty coin or a foreign mix-up, Harold set it aside. He didn't think about it again for nearly a decade. Fast forward to the late 1980s. Harold's grandson, Michael, had grown up hearing stories of coins, old metals, and the thrill of treasure hunting from his grandfather. When Harold passed away, he left behind a shoebox of coins, random finds from over the years that he'd never sold. Michael, then a teenager, wasn't much interested at the time. He tossed the shoebox into the attic, where it gathered dust for over 25 years. Then came the spring of 2015. Michael, now a history teacher and amateur hobbyist himself, decided to clean out the attic as he prepared to sell his home. In the process, he rediscovered the shoebox. Nostalgia pulled him in, and he sat on the dusty floor flipping through the coins. Many were common, pennies, nickels, a few silver dimes. But then he stumbled on the 1976 penny that had intrigued Harold so long. As he turned it over in his hand, he noticed the same peculiar weight and strange shine. With modern resources at his disposal, Michael decided to take a few high-resolution photos and post them on a popular coin collectors forum. He titled the post simply, "Odd 1976 penny, any thoughts?" The response was immediate. Within hours, collectors from around the world were chiming in. A few shrugged it off as a novelty or misprint, but others were intrigued. One user, claiming to be a retired U.S. Mint employee, noted something chilling. "This isn't just an error coin. It might be one of the lost prototypes." Lost prototypes? Michael was puzzled. He reached out to the user privately, and what he learned would set him down a path that would consume the next several years of his life. According to this mysterious former Mint employee, who only identified himself as JC, there were rumors of an experimental batch of 1-cent coins produced in late 1975 in preparation for the 1976 bicentennial celebrations. While no official penny redesign was released for the occasion, some insiders had pushed for it. A batch of test coins had supposedly been struck using experimental metal alloys and alternative dyes. But somewhere along the way, the project was scrapped. The prototypes were ordered to be destroyed. However, whispers of a few coins slipping through the cracks had circulated in collector communities for years, though no one had ever produced evidence of their existence. Could Michael's coin be one of them? Skeptical but intrigued, Michael sent the coin to be appraised. It passed through the hands of several reputable graders and experts. The results stunned everyone. The coin's composition was unlike any standard penny. Rather than 95% copper and 5% zinc, it contained traces of rare metals, including palladium and rhodium, both incredibly valuable on their own. Moreover, the coin had micro-engraved markings not visible to the naked eye, suggesting it had been struck using a unique and highly experimental minting process. What had been thought of as a minor anomaly was quickly gaining attention from high-profile collectors. Word spread, and Michael began receiving offers in the millions. But he wasn't ready to sell. Not yet. Driven by curiosity and a need to understand the origins of the coin, he launched an investigation. He combed through archives, tracked down retired mint employees, and even visited the U.S. Mint facilities in Philadelphia and Denver, posing as a researcher. What he uncovered was astounding. Indeed, a top-secret project had been approved briefly in 1975, codenamed Project Liberty. The intention had been to develop a new commemorative 1-cent coin that would feature subtle nods to America's revolutionary heritage while using futuristic minting techniques. But due to cost overruns and political red tape, the project was abandoned before it could be publicly revealed. Still, there was no record of what happened to the experimental coins. Over the next year, Michael partnered with a group of collectors and historians who believed that finding more coins from the Project Liberty batch could reveal a lost chapter in American minting history. They called themselves the Liberty Seekers. Their search took them to estate sales, abandoned warehouses, and private auctions. They examined thousands of 1976 pennies, finding minor variations and duds along the way. But none matched Michael's coin. Then, in 2018, a breakthrough occurred. A woman named Lena Foster, whose late husband had worked as a custodian at the Denver Mint in the 70s, contacted Michael after seeing a news article about his investigation. She believed her husband had kept a few strange coins in a safe box, claiming they were special rejects. Michael flew out to Colorado the next day. The coins Lena showed him were heavily oxidized and worn, but one caught his attention immediately. It had the same weight and metallic composition as his own. A second prototype had surfaced. Excitement surged through the numismatic community. If 2 coins had survived, could there be more? Were they deliberately smuggled out, or had they been lost and forgotten? Soon, media outlets picked up the story. Coin forums exploded with speculation. Some believed the coins were part of a deeper conspiracy. Others thought they were a prank. But the evidence couldn't be ignored. 2 coins with identical unusual properties. The odds were astronomical. By 2021, 3 more coins had been located, bringing the total to 5. Each one carried subtle differences, suggesting they were struck in different experimental phases. One had an alternate engraving of the Lincoln Memorial. Another had a different date font. But all shared the same unique alloy composition. And then came the twist no one saw coming. In 2022, a tech billionaire named Roland Kessler, a known coin collector with a reputation for eccentric purchases, made an offer to Michael, $50 million for the original coin. Michael declined. He wasn't ready to let go, not just for the money, but because he believed the coin's story was far from finished. Kessler, unfazed, launched a global campaign to locate the remaining coins. He offered rewards, hired private investigators, and funded research into the mysterious alloy. His theory? The coins contained more than just historical value. He believed they were part of a long-forgotten government experiment involving rare earth materials, potentially connected to Cold War-era technologies. While many dismissed these claims as wild speculation, the value of the coins skyrocketed. Each verified piece sold for tens of millions. Auctions became media spectacles. Collectors mortgaged homes and liquidated assets just to compete. Finally, in late 2024, a 6th and final coin was discovered in the unlikeliest of places, a middle school time capsule in Iowa, buried in 1976. It had been part of a Coins of the Year collection assembled by a social studies class. Preserved in near-mint condition, the coin was authenticated as the most pristine specimen of the Project Liberty prototypes. An anonymous buyer, rumored to be connected to a global art and antiquities trust, purchased it at auction for a record-breaking $284 million, and that, my friends, is how a single 1976 1-cent coin, dismissed as worthless pocket change for decades, became the most valuable penny in history, more than a rare collectible, more than a historical artifact. A true mystery, a piece of lost American heritage, and perhaps the beginning of more secrets yet to be uncovered. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this incredible story, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more unbelievable tales from the world of rare coins and collectibles. You never know, the next life-changing discovery might just be in your own pocket. Next. Today's story isn't just about a coin, it's about a piece of history, a symbol of rarity, a tiny treasure that turned ordinary metal into an extraordinary fortune. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed how a 1999 1-cent coin found its place among the most valuable objects ever auctioned in history, reaching an unbelievable $117 million value. Let's dive deep into the fascinating journey of how something as small as a penny could captivate the imagination of collectors, historians, and investors worldwide. It all started in 1999, a year that was buzzing with excitement and anxiety. As the millennium approached, people all over the world were preparing for a technological apocalypse known as Y2K. Computers were being patched, companies were bracing for impact, and everyday folks were stockpiling canned food and bottled water. In the middle of this chaos, the United States Mint was hard at work producing billions of coins, including the humble 1-cent coin, commonly known as the penny. The 1999 penny was supposed to be like any other. It was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. Billions were churned out without much thought because, well, it was just a penny. Pennies don't usually get a lot of respect. People toss them into jars, lose them under couch cushions, or simply leave them lying forgotten on the sidewalk. Nobody thought anything about the 1999 penny. At least, not at first. But unknown to almost everyone at the time, a tiny number of these pennies were drastically different from the rest. These were not your average copper-plated zinc coins. Somehow, either by accident or through an extraordinary twist of fate, a handful of these 1999 pennies were struck on experimental planchets, specially made blank discs of metal intended for testing new designs and compositions. And these weren't just any experimental blanks. These were high-content bronze planchets, giving the coins a richer, deeper color and slightly heavier feel. The origin of these special planchets remains a mystery to this day. Some say they were left over from a secret project at the Mint. Others whisper theories of rogue employees deliberately creating these rarities to spark future treasure hunts. Official records, of course, say nothing. But that only adds to the coin's legend. For years, the special 1999 penny remained hidden, unnoticed by the millions of hands it passed through. It sat quietly, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and a little bit of luck to recognize its true worth. Fast forward to 2018. A retired schoolteacher named Harold Whitman was going through a jar of old coins he had collected over the years. Harold was an amateur coin collector, but even amateurs know that coins minted on experimental planchets can be worth a fortune. As he sorted through the jar, one coin caught his attention. It had a strange luster to it, a little more sheen, a slightly richer color than the others. Curious, Harold weighed it on his old kitchen scale and found it was just a bit heavier than a regular penny. His heart started racing. Harold decided to send the coin to the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, one of the most trusted coin authentication organizations in the world. Weeks passed. Harold tried to keep himself distracted, but the anticipation gnawed at him every day. Finally, the call came. The PCGS representative was almost breathless with excitement. Harold's coin wasn't just genuine. It was one of the rarest coins ever seen, a 1999 penny struck on a high-content bronze experimental planchet. And not just any example, it was in near-perfect condition, grading MS68, almost unheard of for such an old coin that had circulated. News spread like wildfire through the numismatic community. Coin collectors, historians, and investors were abuzz. The coin was given the nickname, the Millennium Penny. because of its 1999 date and its discovery right before the turn of the millennium. Auction houses immediately began reaching out to Harold, offering to represent the coin in what would surely be a historic auction. After careful consideration, Harold chose a prestigious auction house known for handling some of the world's most valuable coins. The day of the auction was nothing short of electric. Collectors flew in from all over the world: Japan, Germany, the United Arab Emirates. The room was packed with millionaires, billionaires, museum representatives, and hardcore numismatists, all eager for a chance to own a piece of modern mythology. Bidding started at an eye-watering $5 million, much higher than the auction house's original estimate. Hands shot up around the room. Phones rang constantly as remote bidders placed their offers. In mere minutes, the price soared past $10 million, then $25 million. Gasps filled the air when the bidding crossed $50 million. When the hammer finally fell, the final price stood at an astonishing $117 million. History was made. The Millennium Penny had become not only the most valuable 1-cent coin ever sold but one of the most valuable objects per weight ever auctioned. The buyer, a reclusive tech billionaire, later said he saw the coin as a symbol of human ingenuity, resilience, and the potential for unexpected beauty to emerge from the most humble origins. He had it placed in a custom-designed case made of bulletproof glass, surrounded by LED lights that highlighted the rich, warm hue of the bronze. As for Harold, the retired teacher, his life was transformed overnight. True to his humble roots, he didn't go on a wild spending spree. Instead, he established scholarships for underprivileged students, funded a local library expansion, and quietly bought a cozy home in the countryside where he could indulge his passion for coin collecting in peace. The story of the 1999 Millennium Penny is a reminder of a timeless truth. Sometimes, the most ordinary things can hold the greatest treasures. It's a story of patience, of keen observation, of passion meeting destiny. And it's also a lesson that history often hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to uncover it. But why did this particular penny command such a jaw-dropping price? Beyond its rarity and perfect condition, it was a symbol. It captured the anxieties and hopes of an era, the frantic energy of 1999, the fear of technological collapse, the thrill of entering a new millennium. Owning it meant owning a tangible piece of history, something no museum, no private collection, no other individual could replicate. Today, the Millennium Penny remains in its custom case, a testament to human fascination with rarity and value. Occasionally, it's loaned out to major museums for exhibitions, drawing crowds who marvel at how something so small could be worth more than a private island. And Harold's story inspired countless others to start checking their own jars of coins, hunting for forgotten treasures. Across America and beyond, magnifying glasses and scales became common household tools, and the dream of discovering another miracle penny kept hope alive. It wasn't just about the money. It was about the magic of realizing that the extraordinary can sometimes be hidden in the ordinary. That a piece of loose change jingling in your pocket might be worth more than you could ever imagine. So next time you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk past it. Pick it up. Look closely. Because history isn't always locked away in museums or buried under ancient ruins. Sometimes, it's right there, gleaming up at you from the sidewalk, waiting for you to notice. And maybe, just maybe, the next great treasure hunter could be you. Thanks so much for tuning in to this incredible story today. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more unbelievable tales from history, coins, and the world of collectibles, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an amazing story. Until next time, keep your eyes open. You never know what treasures might be hiding right in front of you. Last, the 2016 1-cent coin. Yep, you heard that right. A penny. A single cent that ended up being worth a jaw-dropping $14 million. Let's take a deep breath because the story behind this coin is more thrilling than a Hollywood blockbuster. Let's start at the beginning. It was a regular day in Denver, Colorado. The U.S. Mint was operating as usual, minting millions of coins as they do every single year. 2016 was no different. Pennies were being produced by the millions, maybe even the billions. No one was paying much attention. After all, a penny is a penny, right? It's that coin you find stuck between your car seats or lying face down on the sidewalk. Most people don't even bother to pick one up anymore. But hidden among the masses of normal pennies was one very special coin. A coin that would soon rewrite history books. The story goes that a certain worker at the Denver Mint noticed something odd. It was subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye. But if you really looked closely, you'd see it. A tiny, microscopic mistake. A flaw so unique that it would elevate the value of that simple copper disc into the stratosphere. But nobody caught it immediately. In fact, that special penny went right out into the world like any other. It got bundled into rolls, shipped off to banks, maybe even dropped into the cash register of a gas station or a local diner. Somewhere, someone was holding history in their hands, with absolutely no clue. Fast forward a few months. Somewhere in the outskirts of Texas, a coin collector, not a professional, mind you, just a hobbyist, was going through rolls of coins he'd picked up from his local bank. You know, the kind of person who still believed in the dream that maybe, just maybe, something valuable was hiding in plain sight. Hour after hour, he sifted through penny after penny. Most were ordinary, worn, nothing to write home about. Until he spotted it. At first, he couldn't even put his finger on it. There was just something different. He held it up to the light, turned it over, squinted. Then he realized the D mint mark was slightly off-center. Not enough that most people would notice, but enough that a seasoned eye could tell. But it wasn't just a mint mark. There was something even stranger. The edges were crisper, the color was subtly different, almost like it had been preserved differently. Curious, he put it under his magnifying glass. His heart skipped a beat. There, on the lower right side, were tiny doubling marks on the date. That kind of doubling wasn't supposed to happen, especially not with modern coins minted with today's precision machinery. His hands shaking, he snapped some photos and posted them in an online coin forum. Within hours, his inbox was flooded. Collectors, experts, even historians were messaging him. Everyone said the same thing: you might be holding something extraordinary. Words spread like wildfire. And before long, a private collector from New York City reached out. He didn't beat around the bush. He offered $50,000 for the coin, sight unseen. That's how sure he was that this was something special. But the hobbyist hesitated. Something inside told him to wait, to get the coin professionally graded and authenticated. So he sent it off to the Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS. And when the results came back, his world exploded. It was official. The 2016 D1-cent coin he had stumbled upon was not just rare, it was unique. A once-in-a-lifetime mint error combined with unusual preservation made it a one-of-a-kind piece. Experts agreed, there wasn't another one like it in existence. And because of that, its value didn't just inch up. It skyrocketed. Auctions began. Bidding wars erupted. Wealthy investors who didn't even normally care about coins wanted a piece of the action. After a tense and dramatic final bidding battle, the coin sold for $14 million. $14 million. Just imagine that for a second. Finding a penny and trading it for enough money to retire, buy your dream mansion, travel the world, and still have millions left over. All because he trusted his gut, took a second look, and dared to believe that something extraordinary could hide in the most ordinary of places. But the story doesn't end there. This event sent shockwaves through the entire coin collecting world. Suddenly, everyone was raiding their coin jars, their piggy banks, even the loose change in their cars. Bank tellers noticed more and more people asking for rolls of pennies. Coin counting machines at grocery stores jammed from overuse. A full-blown modern-day gold rush for pennies had begun. And in the middle of it all, the man who found the $14 million penny became something of a legend. He went on to appear in interviews, documentaries, even wrote a book about his experience. He talked about the importance of patience, of curiosity, of never underestimating the power of small things. His story inspired countless others to start paying attention to the little things in life, to look closer, to dig a little deeper. There's something profoundly poetic about it when you think about it. In a world obsessed with big things, big money, big fame, big moments, it was something tiny, something most people wouldn't even glance at twice, that ended up making the biggest impact. And the 2016 1-cent coin? It remains in a private collection today, reportedly insured for even more than its original auction price. Some experts believe that as the story of the coin grows more famous over the years, its value could climb even higher. Maybe one day it'll be worth $20 million, $30 million, or more. Who knows? Meanwhile, stories continue to surface about other valuable pennies, but none have matched the legend of the 2016 1-cent coin. It's a reminder that sometimes lightning only strikes once. And if you're lucky enough to catch it, your whole life can change overnight. But maybe what's even more important is what the story represents: hope. Hope that even in the mundane, the overlooked, the everyday, there are treasures waiting to be found. Hope that one small, seemingly insignificant moment can completely alter the course of your future. Hope that maybe, just maybe, the universe has something incredible in store for each and every one of us, hidden in the last place we'd ever think to look. So, the next time you see a penny lying on the ground, don't just walk past it. Pick it up. Take a closer look. Turn it over in your hands. Maybe it's just an ordinary coin. Or maybe, just maybe, it's your $14 million ticket to a whole new life. Thanks so much for tuning in today and taking this incredible journey with me. If you enjoyed this story and want more unbelievable tales from the world of collectibles, treasures, and hidden gems, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a thing. I'll see you next time with even more amazing stories.